without knowing people, I was putting people, I was like categorizing people into groups,
Yeah.
excluding myself from those groups, and then getting mad at those people for excluding me from the group because I didn't feel like I belonged in it. I dread to think how many friendships and
Oh,
beautiful things I could have missed out on from being in that mindset, right?
yeah,
But
definitely.
not only did I get on with these people very well, I found that they also felt exactly the same as I did.
Hi, welcome to Obviously Fine, where we discuss all things mental health. Today we have Matt on the show. Hi, Matt. How are you doing today?
Hi, Vicky. I'm doing good today. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, super excited to have you. How are you? How are you really doing? You said you're fine, but tell me, like, give me a real honest, how are you actually today?
Today I am fine. I am fine. No, I'm good. I had an intense week last week, apartment hunting, but everything seems to be falling into place. I'm feeling aligned with the universe. I feel
Yeah,
like everything's coming up roses. Let me find some wood to touch. But yeah, feeling good,
good.
feeling energized, and of course happy to be talking to you today as well. So.
Awesome. Thank you for that honest answer. And I'm glad that things are going well. Good luck with the apartment or flat hunt. Super exciting. So there are a few reasons why I wanted to have you on today and discuss some things with you. I know what we're going to discuss is imposter syndrome. We're going to get into why and how and all the things. But before we do, well, first, I want to explain why I wanted you to come on. And then I want you to tell me a little bit about you, who you are, and a little bit about what you do, your business. So I asked you on here, number one, because you are a dear friend and I respect and appreciate your feedback. And we've spoken about imposter syndrome just in our own personal chats. And I think we have a lot of common thoughts about it. So I thought it would be interesting to get your perspective on how you've experienced it. And then also because you have I've been working with you now for some time to develop my brand for Obviously Fine. And throughout our work together, I've noticed your confidence and your just comfort level in what you do in your business. And you've shared with me that you've experienced imposter syndrome, but I don't see it. So I just kind of wanted to know, how you got here to this place of being so confident and comfortable. So that's why I wanted to have you on. So we'll get into that. But why don't you tell me tell me who you are and tell me what you do.
um yeah, well, who I am is Matt Mulvey. I um I have a branding and commercial art business called Cool Friends, and basically what it is brand building to suit smaller budgets, so for smaller businesses, and the approach is very narrative based. So I take all my clients through something called the story circle method, and the goal is to like coach them into becoming an effective protagonist in their own story. And the end goal of the journey being their fully realized brand. They have everything they need visually, and kind of as is developed between my work with yourself and my first handful of clients, because I've only been operating since December, is that kind of personal kind of beating the imposter syndrome, learning how to show up for yourself online, and yeah, believing in yourself and in your brand and in the problem in the world that you have seen that you want to solve, and your ability to do so as well.
Awesome. So yes, no, your work with me has been super helpful in developing my
I really,
brand. You've enjoyed it?
yeah, I love working with you.
Yeah, no, I think we've had a really good time. But I thought that maybe we could talk a little bit about, well, speaking of my business and your work with me, I've faced a lot of imposter syndrome since we've been working together, as you know, because I've been talking to you about it. I feel very confident in my work as a therapist, treating trauma, working with people one on one, all of that stuff, I feel really good about it and I feel confident and I feel like I'm where I'm meant to be. But
Right.
developing this brand has been a completely different story, and showing up on social media and showing up, online is extremely difficult for me, and I'm still kind of struggling with it a little bit. But through my work with you, I've really, I'm getting more and more comfortable, not completely comfortable. And like I said, you've been so confident and cool and calm about the work that you're doing. So tell me a little bit about, well, first of all, let's talk about what imposter syndrome is. How would you define it?
So for me, and I do think that's a really good point you make. I think it is different for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, I think to define it, I would say you're calling into question the validity of your claim to a role you've been assigned, or like an accolade you've been given, or any kind of room that you found yourself in and you don't quite feel like you belong, right? You're convincing yourself that you're an intruder, you're a fraud, you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's like, are they going to find out? Is everyone going to find out that actually you're not this person that you're presenting yourself to be? Like, I am a therapist. I'm like, am I good enough to be presenting myself this way, to be sharing this information? Everyone's going to find out. It's like, it's a weird feeling, really.
Yeah, I think we have a kind of idea of, okay, so we assume that everyone else in the room is fully qualified to be there. They've all got their shit together, and there's a certain way of doing the thing that I'm trying to do, and that's what they're doing. They're doing it properly, but I'm just doing my little like shitty piecemeal version of that can't measure up to what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know and in that there's a lot of comparison to other people and what other people are doing. One of the things that has stopped me from developing my brand sooner was just being inundated with so much information about mental health online and seeing people develop these really amazing accounts, which should have motivated me. But a lot of the time, it just made me think, oh no, but what am I going to do that's different? What am I going to do that's better? I'm not as good as that. But now I'm like, okay, but everyone has their own personality and their own touch and their own way of presenting things. So that's the way I'm trying to focus. But there are still moments where I'm like, oh, I don't know. This is hard. Is this good enough? Am I good enough?
100%, and I think you hit a good point there. You said that the keyword is comparison, and as consumers, we are conditioned to compare ourselves to everybody else, right? Oh, what have they got? Why don't I have that? Oh, they look like that. Why don't I look like that? Kind of thing. It keeps us
Yeah.
consumed. It keeps us on this kind of hamster wheel of self improvement through
Yeah.
either kind of material purchases or um personal endeavors like fitness or finance or anything like this.
Anything. Yeah. No, definitely. The comparison is not good. So yeah, so you've only just started your business. It's been about a year. Congrats. It
Thank
sounds like
you.
it's
Yeah,
going
just
well.
about to celebrate my year anniversary.
Super exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Um, but how did you get to this point of being so confident? Like, tell me a little bit about the journey from start to where you are now with your business, and how and when did imposter syndrome show up for you? Can you think of like examples?
Yeah. So I would say imposter syndrome has been a factor in my life for as long as I can remember.
Since
Okay, and
childhood.
since I'd say late teen, early adulthood, and kind of embarrassing to say this, but I feel like a lot of it was rooted in body image,
Yeah.
right? I went
Okay.
through puberty and I was such a weird shape. Like I felt like such an alien in my body.
Oh,
But and I think that kind of again bringing the comparison into it, it's just like, oh, why do I look this? Everyone else is normal. Like I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be accepted.
Yeah, of course. Everybody wants
Yeah.
that.
And I think that I guess just be coming from a starting place of feeling like an imposter in my own body almost um
Wow.
really really set me up for a really fun early adulthood of imposter related cares, especially when I was trying to pursue my dream of becoming a photographer of a creative, this being a very first of all a very expensive thing to get into, and coming from like a working class low income background, um, not having the tools and equipment available to me at that time. They were always behind like financial barriers, and I felt very blocked from some of the things that it
Mhm.
felt like I needed to get ahead in this industry, right? I'd go along to the fashion show with my little like 100D with a little flip up flash, and the person next to me in the little pit, the little pit at the bottom of the runway, like
Yeah.
three camera bodies, like a telescopic lens, like you know what I mean? Like literal eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, very much feeling like an imposter in that space
Yeah.
as well. Um, until for a long time, for a long time. So I think that held me back in a sense. I chipped away, I chipped and chipped and chipped away at it in my own little way, until completely out of the blue, it seemed at the time, a random Facebook message came through to me asking whether I was able to come to Kuwait to work for a startup and do a videographer role for a fitness app.
Right.
This was
Okay.
in 2018.
Okay.
So, so it's very much, oh, we need a videographer. Um, we need this, and this. Um, are you that person?
And
Very much at that point, I was not that person. But I said yes anyway.
how did you say yes in that moment when you were like, I'm not really this person. I don't necessarily have all the things I need for this role. And you said yes anyway. How did you?
Bit of dishonesty,
It's fine.
deception.
Just
Uh,
lying. Normal stuff.
yeah, I'm evil. No, um, I think two things. I felt capable. I was not that person currently, but I felt capable of becoming that person.
Okay, great.
And the second kind of element of that decision was the choice I was being given. I can stay here in my imposter syndrome and everything will remain the same and I'll be comfortable, slightly unhappy, but I won't I negate the possibility of giant failure if I stay here. Or
Or
I can fucking believe in myself and go for it, and maybe it'll be a fun adventure. And that's what it ended up being.
so you believed in yourself and you did the thing, even though you felt this imposter syndrome going on, you didn't feel 100% confident. You did the thing anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. Which is beautiful that you took that chance on yourself.
And essential, essential looking back
Essential.
now, I needed to do that.
Yeah. So you went to Kuwait, you're working for this fitness app, and I imagine that doing that, there must have been some moments of like, oh shit, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I belong here. Can you tell me about some of those moments?
Absolutely. I mean, from the get-go, um, I'm learning as I go. Um, a beautiful new camera is presented to me. I need to work out how to use it. I need to work out how to use all the software and everything. So professionally, there was like a very steep learning curve, which I had to do in secret. And maybe it should, maybe it didn't. I never got any negative feedback, but
Oh
that was
wow.
very much that what you said before, that ooh, they're gonna find out, they're gonna discover me.
What is they're gonna know. They're gonna
you know,
know.
I managed to kind of fail upwards in that sense, but kind of in the personal sense as well. It was interesting that this opportunity came in the form of a fitness company.
Fitness company.
As I was saying before, having had historically had these kind of deeply rooted beliefs about the value of my body and how it looks and things like this, and then to be working in this industry, which is very much like perfection, like
So you were
everyone.
surrounded by like personal trainers and stuff like that kind of thing? Or
Listen, I got invited on a boat party, right? So you know the vibe. We're out on the ocean, we're on this yacht. It was amazing. I'd never done anything like that before. And I'm little me with my pot belly and my hairy chest is partying it up with all these personal trainers all around me.
my
Um,
God.
so I mean, can you think of a better definition of imposter syndrome
Oh my
than,
gosh.
than
Were,
that?
were these people, did you get along with them? Were you friendly with them? What was the dynamic?
That is such a good question, and I think that is this was one of the first kind of steps in my journey to overcoming my imposter syndrome. I very much got along with them, and when I did, I had to do a bit of thinking about kind of my relationship to this world. Why didn't I feel like I belonged there? And I kind of looked back on the kind of way I'd approached these situations before, and I found that I was, without knowing people, I was putting people, I was like categorizing people into groups,
Yeah.
excluding myself from those groups, and then getting mad at those people for excluding me from the group because I didn't feel like I belonged in it.
Right. So it wasn't that you wouldn't have been welcomed or that, nobody liked you. It was that you decided, oh, that's not for me and this isn't who I am. So I'm going to stand over here,
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
which would block me from creating amazing friendships. I missed out on. I feel like if I look back across my life, I dread to think how many friendships and
Oh,
beautiful things I could have missed out on from being in that mindset, right?
yeah,
But
definitely.
not only did I get on with these people very well, I found that they also felt exactly the same as I did.
So they,
Uh,
what do you mean about like that they really liked you?
no, they
Oh,
felt imposter syndrome themselves.
oh,
They felt exactly the same as me, but for different
yeah,
reasons. Yeah.
for different reasons. And that,
Mm,
I think that's a really big, important key point is that we all experience these kinds of feelings at one point or another, often in our lives.
mm.
I
Yeah.
think there are so many times when I have experienced this, but then when you connect with somebody, at the same job as you or in whatever group setting, you realize, oh, I'm not alone in this. Like, this is just a part of being human, right? Being a human being means that we're going to have these kinds of feelings and doubt ourselves and wonder if we belong. And that's a part of our human
100%.
experience.
I truly
So,
believe that we do it to protect ourselves.
yeah, of course.
We want to protect ourselves. We want to avoid the feeling of embarrassment, right? The feeling of shame if we were discovered, if they do think we're a fraud, and we want to avoid that eventual rejection,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
think about, I don't know, do you follow Gary V? Do you know Gary V? Do you
I
follow
do.
him? Okay. Well, first of all, I'm obsessed with him for many reasons. But the reason I brought him up now is I just love his approach to, I mean, I think it's like his approach to life. It just seems like it's who he is, but also it's his approach to business and his social media and everything he does, which is
Sorry,
that's
sorry.
his approach is just be kind and
Mhm.
be yourself and who cares what anybody thinks. And I just I love it. And he's right, because it's like, if people are laughing at you, okay. If you look stupid, okay. But even if that does happen, people are going to relate to you because we've all experienced that and we all feel nervous about presenting ourselves and all that stuff. I think like the main thing is presenting this core of who you are, which is kind. And that's something that you've shared with me, is like your brand is important because you're sharing stuff that's important about mental health. So that's what's going to come through. So that's what's important. This is like who I am. So who cares if I look silly at some points doing it?
Well, definitely. I think that leads nicely into once you stop comparing, once you get past the barriers that comparison um builds up between people, and you can start to connect on a human level,
Right.
that frees up your brain for so much other stuff, like um getting to the bottom of what your core values are, understanding what other people's core values are. Do they align? Can I be kinder to myself? As long as I know I'm kind of honoring these core values about myself, then let them laugh, let
Yeah.
them judge.
Right.
If my core is strong, and there's a good intention behind it, I think that's one of the greatest ways to kind of combat those imposter syndrome feelings. 100% to have
Absolutely.
a strong core, and to always be honoring those values as well.
Absolutely. So at this boat party, so how did you manage? Did you chat to one or two people? What did you do? Like, how did you?
So I protected myself a little bit.
Okay.
Uh, with irony, I think sometimes when we're in those situations, we're like, well, I want you to know in a subtle way that I know I'm not supposed to be here, right? So in the lead up to this boat party, I went and bought like a red speedo, like a Baywatch, like 'cause I was like,
A
uh,
red Speedo.
I'm
That's
just like,
cute.
you know what? It's not gonna go anywhere in the next 2 days. Let's just make a joke out of it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, I looked amazing.
I'm
Uh,
sure you did. I'm sure you did look amazing.
yeah, and I had a lot of fun. It was terrifying. Um, but yeah, I think that the friendships that I went on to have with those people helped me with the other side of things, the professional side too, because they were my work colleagues. They were also my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that support, social support is a huge, you know, uh, thing that's going to help you overcome imposter syndrome and a lot of other things, right? If we have the support of the people that are surrounding us, then we're okay. That's why when we're lonely,
100%.
we're not okay, and when we have support, social support, we're healthier.
And I feel like that's what I'm trying to build between myself and you, and myself and my other clients, right? Do you feel that in the process that we're going through?
Absolutely, and it is because you've introduced me to Joe, who is a
Love
parenting
it.
coach.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I haven't spoken with Kavita, who's a DJ, but you're definitely creating this sense of community. And that's another thing that I wanted with my brand, because, doing therapy one-on-one, I love it, but I want more of a community kind of experience to share in. And that is what you're creating. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I feel like it has to be like that, right? We all,
Yeah,
we all, I feel like the clients that are joining Cool Friends all have something to give to each other. And that's the definition of a community, right?
right. Exactly. We're all sharing what we have to offer, which everybody has something, which
Yeah.
is absolutely right. So, Matt, it's been so far really awesome to chat with you about this
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, how it's impacted you, how it's impacted me, your journey. We've spoken about how it started for you growing up with your body image issues, and then how it came up for your career, the barriers that you faced with finances and those other things. And then we kind of came back around to this idea that we all compare ourselves to other people, and that is kind of at the root of this imposter syndrome. So that's kind of what we've gone over so far. How are you feeling?
When we compare, there are barriers that are just barriers, right? And they exist there and they're there for us to overcome. When we start comparing, when we do kind of give in to this imposter syndrome, we create imaginary barriers, right?
Right.
So
Those are not real. Exactly. They're not.
yeah, we made them.
Exactly. So what I want to know now is how, you've shared with me how this imposter syndrome has come up for you growing up and then when you started your business and when you were in Kuwait. But how about now that you're established, is it still happening now that you're established in your business and you have clients and you're making money? Is it happening now still experiencing it? And if you are,
Um,
tell me how.
I want to say no, but I feel like that's a big that's a big statement. Do
I
I
mean, there's
really not imposter syndrome? No, it's not. I'm at a point in my life where it's not coming up a lot anymore because I have that core of my values and the belief in myself and what I'm trying to do. And as you know, with the story circle, I actually have a strong idea of my location in my own narrative.
Mhm.
So, considering the past, experiencing the present, and thinking about the future, and assembling the pieces into a provisional timeline of what I'd eventually like my life to
To
look
be.
like. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think doing the kind of narrative work that we've done together, and I hope it was useful for you as well,
Yes.
understanding where you came from, where you are, and where you're going, and knowing where you're at on that timeline, for me, is one of the greatest kind of antidotes to imposter syndrome. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, thank you. That's very hopeful and inspiring because I think I'm still on my journey to getting to where you are with it not coming up as much. Um, I don't think it'll ever go away for me completely, but I do think that, I still have to keep going on this journey, showing up in social media space and, um, you know, figure out where I'm going to go from here. I think that all of those things are going to help me, overcome it a little bit more.
Absolutely. And you do have that strong core. The
Yeah.
need that you've identified in the world is this lack of reliable mental health information, a bit of stagnant language around talking about it, and kind of hesitance to put the put your own industry under a microscope and think
Yeah.
about how therapists experience um
Right.
this world. um yeah, I think that's such a strong and your goal being to provide a remedy to that, right? A source online
Right.
for reliable mental health information, open discussion, and things like that. So no, you definitely have a strong core. You're so early along on that journey, and the further you go into the unknown land, you'll just, that confidence just comes to you.
I'm excited. I'm
I
super
can I can
excited.
see it. You're different. You're different than when we started working together.
Do you think? How? What do you mean?
The I've made you come out of your comfort zone
Yes.
a lot.
Yes, you have. That's right.
And to see you kind of actively embrace, you know, talking to people, reaching out to people, having them on your podcast, being so open to do that, and kind of proactively creating opportunities for that to happen. And I think you've done that because the podcast kind of format really lends itself to your personal power, which is connecting with people, right?
Yeah.
You have your strong core, you have your strong values, you have your kind of worthy mission, and you also have your superpower of connecting with people. So
Thank you.
you're gonna be good. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna
Definitely.
be
Thank
obviously
you.
fine.
Obviously fine.
Obviously.
Um, well, I think this has been a really awesome, helpful conversation. I'd like to end it on, I'm going to share with you a strategy that I've been using to help me overcome my own personal imposter syndrome. And I want you to share one tip that you have used to overcome yours. So I'm going to share mine first, and then
Yeah,
you
I
share
like that.
yours, and then I think we can end on that.
Hmm.
So one of the things I realized was holding me back from doing, like social media and a brand and all that, was that I would want everything that I do to be perfect and to be perfect. And I've started to tell myself things don't have to be perfect. Just do it. If it's not perfect, that's fine. Obviously, you want it to be, you want to share, I want to share reliable information and all of that stuff. But
It needs to be
if
a baseline of quality.
Right. I want it to be good quality, what I'm sharing. But if I don't look perfect in the video, okay. If I tripped up over my words for a moment, okay. We don't have to be perfect as human beings. So I'm telling myself, I don't have to be perfect in this space either. Don't have to be perfect, just do it. So that's the strategy that I've been using lately. What about you?
Oh no, absolutely. Just to speak to that as well. And I know it's such a cliche, but nobody's perfect, right? And I think in this, it's so difficult to show up in the realm of social media specifically because everything is so curated and perfect. And again, we're in that room of everybody else who is perfect,
Yeah,
and we don't have enough information about those people to glean whether they're perfect or not. We just that's our automatic assumption. Whereas with us, we have a whole kind of dusty tome of all the times we've failed or said something embarrassing or done something dumb. Uh, so yeah, you just gotta realize that everybody has that tome. They're just
absolutely.
not showing it to you.
Yeah, exactly. They're just keeping it real hidden.
Yes.
So give us a tip for overcoming imposter syndrome. What's the one that you'll leave us with?
So I just touched on the ultimate tip, which is getting a strong idea of your narrative, who you are, where you're at, where you're going, and pinpointing your location on that. But I think although the imposter syndrome exists to protect us, it more often than not and does end up hurting us. We say not nice things to ourselves. We believe not nice things about ourselves and sometimes about other people too. But let's keep it with us. And I think one of why should you take the time to create this narrative and get your ducks in a row and develop this core? It's because you deserve it. This is your world. You deserve to be here just as much as anybody. You deserve to have an impact on the world just as much as anybody
That's
else right now.
beautiful.
And you have to give yourself a certain amount of self-compassion, right? Which
Absolutely.
is easier said than done.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
way I found the best way, the quickest way that I've found to do that, well, there's two. There's inner child work, um, you know,
Yeah.
any awful thing that you believe about yourself, any kind of unkind judgments that you have about yourself. So, for example, when I was doing inner child work, I think back to, I think 5-year-old me, and every morning
Mm.
on his way to school, I used to take like the pollen out of the plants in the front garden, and I'd leave it on the step for the bees to come and eat
Oh my
on
gosh,
my way
how
to
sweet.
school. And anytime I'm being mean or awful to myself, like I remind myself that I'm being mean to that cute little guy who deserves a happy ending, who deserves a joyful future. So
Oh,
everything
that's
I kind of do now is informed by giving that character who is me
Yeah,
a
easier.
happy ending. And
Mm.
then if that doesn't work, in general, just kind of zooming out. Obviously, we're very consumed by our own experiences, but if
Mm.
you zoom out to like a God's eye view, I always see kind of. Do you ever play The Sims?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like everyone's just a cute little sim, like doing
Just
their
going about their business, doing
yeah,
their thing.
exactly. Like doing their little tasks and trying to win the trophy. Like we're just cute little advanced apes. So try and view them as you would view your sim family. Have compassion for yourself, but have compassion to kind of everyone around you because they're
Everyone.
all doing their own little dumb little
That's,
task list and
I
yeah.
love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much. I
No
I'm
worries.
happy you said, you deserve it. Have compassion for yourself. You made me think of something that comes up with my clients all the time, which
So,
is what do you need in order to be worthy of love or deserving of success or worthy of success or accepted? And the fact is that you need to be born. That's it. That's what I say to my clients. I'm like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to. Obviously, if we've experienced trauma, if we've experienced those kinds of things, we create these beliefs and these narratives that tell us that we're not going to be accepted or loved or worthy if we don't work for it or do something. But the fact is that you deserve to be here just because you were born.
yeah.
You were
Yeah.
born to be here. So
Yes.
that's what it made me think of, and that comes
I
up a
love
lot
that so much.
with my clients because often we base like our worth and whether we're deserving of the things that we want on how hard we're working or what we're doing for it. Obviously we have to work hard to reach our goals, but ultimately you deserve it because you were born.
It's built in.
Yeah, you deserve to be have compassion for yourself. You're a human being, you're here for a reason. So
Yeah.
anyway, this has been amazing. I'm so happy to talk to you.
You
um,
too.
and I can't wait to continue working together on developing my brand. And I hope that, I know you're going to do amazing things as you move
Yeah,
forward in your business.
this was so fun. Please have, if you can think of any other topics for us to talk about, I'd love to come back on again. This was like a really amazing experience for me. Like I was a little nervous.
It
Maybe
was
maybe I did get
awesome
syndrome, but no,
coming on.
it was super super fun. And yeah, I'm very proud of you. I'm very excited to see what the future for obviously Fine holds as well.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Obviously fine. And I'll see you definitely again soon.
Thank you. Love you very much. I'll speak
Love
soon.
you.